Okay, I'm going to give a commentary on the Hooponopono, which has been around for quite some time. I went to a seminar from the main promulgator of Hooponopono. That was Hugh Len. Apparently he calls himself doctor sometimes, but apparently what he's got is a degree in psychology, and he doesn't use Western psychology. He uses what he says he got from a Hawaiian kahuna, Morna Simeona. Okay, so in a nutshell, what he says is a pile of malarkey. He is I won't give a direct, what is it called, ad hominem attack on the man. Why not? Let's talk about it. He is a stupid man. An incredibly stupid man, and I suppose, was I stupid to go to his lecture? I have to debunk these things. If I'm going to debunk these things, I've got to go and learn about them. And at the time, you couldn't really get a full information from the book Zero Limits by Joe Vitale, a snake oil salesman, who took the story of Hugh Len, which was pretty much a lie. The original story about Hugh Len was he went to the psychiatric hospital in Hawaii, and instead of doing a Western psychology, which is a whole other topic, it don't work, but he used what he was taught from the Hawaiian tradition, and sometime later that mental hospital was closed down, and Joe Vitale said, well, I read this article, some newspaper person created an article about it, and said basically, in a nutshell, Hugh Len did some Hawaiian kahuna thing, and all the psychiatric patients were all better, and they closed the mental ward. Okay, well, you can listen to Hugh Len on YouTube. I did find some of his talks yesterday that weren't available before, but they were filmed at the same kind of seminar I went to in Portland, Oregon, many years ago. And okay, the number one flaw in Hugh Len's theory of how consciousness works, he says there's the divinity, and then there's what he called the superconsciousness, and then there's the consciousness, and then there's the subconsciousness. And according to Hugh Len, what we consider ourselves, the conscious mind, cannot talk directly to the superconscious mind or the divinity. That's what he said. He said the only thing we can talk to is the subconscious, and the subconscious mind can talk to the superconscious mind, and the superconscious mind can talk to the divinity. What a pile of bullshit. Now, from other teachings about infinite intelligence, now this may be not what he believes in. Maybe he doesn't believe in infinite intelligence. I don't know. He's an incredibly stupid man. But to believe that infinite intelligence doesn't know what I'm saying right now is the height of stupidity. And yet that's what Hugh Len promulgates. That's what he says. Hugh Len says, me talking can only talk to the subconscious mind, and he calls the subconscious mind the body and everything else that you see here. It's all the data. He calls it the data. So I'm calling it bullshit, because something that's infinitely intelligent, God, the divinity he calls it, why would it have a limitation that it can't hear my voice? It makes no sense. I mean, right in one fell swoop, I'm going to take a red marker and put a big X on Hugh Len's head and say, don't listen to this asshole. don't pay any money to Joe Vitale, a snake oil salesman, and I have bought some of his books. I want my money back, Joe Vitale, you stupid asshole. You're the stupidest asshole because you collect money in cash, stealing stupid ideas from Hugh Len. Where did he get it from? Who knows where he got it from? Dementia is what he got it from. Stupid, stupid, stupid. So I did waste a lot of money on Joe Vitale and Hugh Len and Hooponopono, and I did give it a good college try. For, let's say, over 2 years, I did it every day. Did it improve any of my circumstances? Not one iota. Nothing. Zero. Zero change. Zero change. He is a liar. Hugh Len and Joe Vitale is a piece of shit for promulgating lies. So the two of them, I'll take your Hooponopono as a soccer ball, and I'm going to kick it into the net, and I'm going to score one for debunking Hooponopono. It don't work because it's based on lies. Now, what do we know? Why do I say that the divinity is infinitely intelligent? Well, is it man creating a god? Man creating a god. Well, the god's got to be smarter than man, because we look around and we see man makes mistakes. Man makes mistakes. So we want something to be our god that is beyond mistake. Well, I didn't invent this. This is just stuff I've read over the many, many years I've been researching this. And from the teachings of Science of Mind, the teacher that I had then, the Science of Mind people, which was all based upon New Thought, which was a number of writers, starting probably in the 1800s and into the 1900s, but they came up with a triple O. God. They said the first thing you got to get rid of is the idea that God lives way up there in the sky, beyond the lamppost there, beyond the street light. The idea that the Simpsons God, it's a human-formed God, lives in the sky. It was maybe, an old man with a beard. That ain't God. That's the first thing they tell you. That's what they call a sky God. God that lives in the sky, the Simpsons God. It's not God. They say infinite intelligence is triple O's. So it's omnipresent. Omnipresent means it's present everywhere. Inside of you and outside of you and everyone else. Omnipresent. Omnipotent, which means can do anything. Fully capable of doing everything and anything. And omniscient. All-knowing, omniscient. Now, I didn't hear anything about benevolent. Triple O's God, can it be not benevolent? Well, Well, the whole New Thought movement was a bit of a reaction to what they saw that was being taught in the churches of the day. And the churches of the day, just like the churches of today, were a lot about, reading scriptures from, holy textbooks. Perhaps you would have a priest of some type who would give you a, in plain English, sermon, which is sort of a lesson in your own words. Usually they have hymns, chanting. Sometimes they have a silent, quiet period, 2-minute silence or something. Maybe they'll have some ceremonies like, baptisms, marriages, and funerals. What did New Thought think of all of this? Well, they thought you were praying to the sky god. Some god outside of you, way up in the sky. That's what they thought, and they thought it doesn't work because they looked at the state of people who went to church and they said, well, whatever you're doing, it doesn't work. They saw a lot of, I don't know, maybe they saw a lot of, I don't know. Anyway, they came to the conclusion it didn't work, so they tried to figure out why. And a lot of mumbo jumbo later, that's what they came up with. What God must be, the triple O God. Now, can that triple O God be evil? Evil is the opposite, if you put the word backwards, life. Life backwards is evil. It sounds like a satanic thing. In the olden days, they said, if you took Led Zeppelin records and someone says Houses of the Holy, I don't know which one, but you took a Led Zeppelin record and you played it backwards on an old-fashioned record machine, you would hear, bless you, my sweet Satan, or something like that. And it was proof. That's why Satanists take Christian symbolism primarily, but maybe some Jewish symbolism, and they invert it. So someone's criticism of Satanism is, you didn't have an original thought in your head, did you, you stupid? You're really stupid. You had to take somebody else's religion and turn it upside down. But evil is life backwards. So that's what it is. It's anti-life. Is that what Antichrist is? Anti-life? Yes. So what does it really mean for all of this lecture? Life is. Life is. And if you try and screw it up, it's evil. Anti-life. Why do we want to have anti-life around at all? Well, if you want to go out in hunting season and have something for your supper, it's of an animal variety, you have to kill it. If you want to have bread, you've got to harvest the wheat. If you didn't eat the wheat, what would happen? Well, it would be used as seed for next year's wheat crop. Wheat makes a lot of extra seed, way more than it needs to propagate, same as humans. So what do we take around from all of this? Well, I started off talking about why Hooponopono doesn't work, because it is metaphysically incorrect. The idea that whatever infinite intelligence is can't hear humans talk. So what it means is if you are in an old-fashioned church and you are saying your prayers out of the prayer book, God hears you. Absolutely must hear you. It must hear you. Unless it knows everything. It knows. It's the knower. So, it knows. So what is New Thought? New Thought is a cult. New Thought is a cult. And is there anything good? Well, yeah, you learn everything. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, all these different things you learn. Why is it a cult? Because it's a reaction to traditional churches. It's basically them saying, you're praying to a God outside of you. Is it true? No. If you look at the teachings of Jesus, Jesus said, go into your closet and pray. What closet did he mean? He meant go inside of your body. In other words, you don't have to talk outside of yourself. You can talk to God inside of yourself. So, and I know if you go to a traditional church and you think somehow by using your physical voice and saying prayers that God doesn't hear you, that's incredibly stupid. So, but that's what they teach in the science of mind. Religious science people, New Thought people, they're always hacking traditional churches. Why? Because they want the money that the traditional churches make. Yes, they have ministers who basically want to collect money from the congregation, and they charge you money to take courses on their metaphysical theory. So in the end, it's all about money, just like everything else. Is it evil? Yes. Why is it evil? It's because they're not forthright. And there's a lot of you having to pay a lot of money to get to the point where I am, where you can say, you're all about money. Because basically, an infinitely intelligent God doesn't need you to go to a science of mind meeting, and it doesn't need you to go to a traditional church. An infinitely intelligent God doesn't need anything from you, and in fact, if it's your God, it's basically the job. I mean, the job of a human parent is to look after its child. The job of a God to a human is to look after the human. Basic information. Basic information. So, if we're going to evaluate God's job here on planet Earth, what can we say? Well, is it a hands-off God? In other words, it just lets all the apparent murders and things happen? Yeah, apparently. Why? Some people say soul contracts. You had a contract that you wanted to have. You wanted to be murdered in this lifetime? It's difficult to say. Millions of explanations. The final word I'll give you is nothing.